When you're talking business, you're only talking strategic networking. Now I'm going to show you about 4 slides in the short time that I have, and then we will invite our other speakers. So here is our first screen for the day. Critical strategic networking. These are the 3 words I want you to take away today. This is not a networking session. It's called critical strategic networking. Now, in your strategic network, you need to know, number 1, what is your goal? If you don't know it, you don't need to network. 2, there is no networking without an agenda. If somebody invites you for, I often get invited by people all over the place, and I often say, so what is the agenda? And they'll say, it's an agenda-less meeting. I say, no, I'm sorry, I can't come. What is an agenda-less meeting? Every meeting has an agenda. Your agenda could be bonding. Your agenda could be business. Your agenda could be anything, but I need to have an agenda. So if I'm going to network, there is no networking without an agenda. Next, who are you talking to? Who is your stakeholder? Who is the person in your 100 dots around the circle that you actually want to involve in your conversation? Whatever conversation. Suppose I'm having a conversation on whether I want to have a merger of the company with another company. Who's my stakeholder? Identify them all. Next, how am I going to outreach those people? What are going to be the different tools I'm going to use? And the tools doesn't have to be me. I could get a proxy tool. Networking is not only you. Networking is also proxy tools that you will use. There's no problem. Use your proxies. Whichever can proxy for you. If you can write a book and influence your stakeholder, okay, write a book. If you can write a blog and influence your stakeholder, okay, write a blog. But you got to outreach as many of your stakeholders as possible. So how will you influence? Those are your tools. So step 1, circular thinking should be what you're doing. Linear thinking, the answer is no. Now in this SPY model of executive presence, you will notice there are 3 components. Component 1 is image, and then performance, and then exposure. Everybody I know, 99% of the women and the men, sometimes, only focus on image and performance. But 1/3, therefore, of their tools are lost. That tool is called exposure. And that's what networking is all about. It puts you into this tool. And unless you fill up this tool via networking, there is no other way to do exposure except to network. All right? If somebody tells me to go on the front line today and do something, I'll do it. Even if they don't pay me any money, I'll do it. Because I want the exposure. It's a critical component of my executive presence. That's what networking is about. Not only what you will network with somebody, but where are you going to go and who are you going to network who actually doesn't have, you might get another circle of dots for all you know. That's what exposure does for you. And then networking, most of the people think networking is all about receiving. What am I going to get from X, Y, and Z? And, I've been talking on networking and building relationships ever since I know. I don't network at all, but I give. You just give and you give and you give, and then you give some more. But I'm not talking about giving favors. I'm saying you just give content, give knowledge, give guidance, give direction, give confidence, give trust, give whatever you can. Then you will take back from your network. If you don't give all of these things, your network will give you nothing. It's not about getting up and saying, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's saying making a request or making a demand or having a negotiation. Networking is about giving. You have to first give your trust. You have to first give people confidence. You have to first give them knowledge. Then only one day you will say after 2 years, okay, now I want this from you. And believe me, they are not going to say no because they've taken so much. And that so much is called a pot of gold, which you're leaving with them. So try not to sell, try to serve. By serve, I don't mean serve as in serve. I mean build relationships which are long lasting. Don't be transactional. Be sustainable. Find out what the other person wants. Networking is about giving and then receiving. That's how you will be able to persuade people. So the question is, Where are you going to network? There are plenty of networks. There's no problem with where you can network. If you have a goal, you know your stakeholders, you know who you want to influence, you know you got the tools, okay, then get up and find the networks. Okay? And you must know what are the hot topics today, because you cannot walk in and do networking. Like I said, you got to know what is your agenda. So you got to know what are the hot topics around your agenda. You don't have to be a master on everything. You just have to be a master on what is your agenda and what are the topics that surround it. Be positive, be energized. You always don't need to be seen. Now, this is extremely important. I cannot emphasize this enough. Networking is not about being seen, but you always need to be heard. It's really important. You know, you don't have to necessarily always be seen. It's enough if you can just find your voice, but then you must know what you want to say. There are all these new technologies waiting for you. Just get up, find your voice, and start networking. So that is step number 4. And finally, I want to say that networking is a state of mind. It's not a program you can learn. Okay, now I'm going to learn how to network. You know, now I'm going to learn, like there's a discipline like getting an MBA. It's a state of mind. I want to be able to know all the dots that surround my existence today. That's your network. That is your network. Why am I existing today? Everything that surrounds you, that's anything to do with you, is your network. Even if you're at work or at home or wherever, it doesn't matter. Now you've got to learn to project your moves all the time, and you got to know the consequences of the choices you will make with your network. And I always say, please learn how to play chess. It's the single best way to learn how to network. If you can know that if you move one pawn, what will happen 15 moves ahead, that's called strategic networking.